everyone's doing well. I chose not to go live today. I'm sure you've seen me on a lot of people's lives, but it was a day. Here we are, the day after. That's really starting to sink in where we're at. The tides have changed with the interactions with the RCMP. There's a lot more tension now. It's going to be a few more days before they're fully out of here, by the time they get down all these fences and get all their equipment out and get the hell out of Dodge. Things got a little heated today. I finally let Kevin from PLT know how I felt. The public liaison team. I'm still going to say that, for the most part, all our interactions were good with the RCMP, but I will say I'm a little disappointed. I'm in PLT in the ending days when things went down. If there was a time where we really needed the strength of the PLT, it would have been the night of the call and the next day. And I just felt like, even though they may have been present the next day, the effort just wasn't there when we needed it. There was no initiation of victim services or any other entity to come and talk to people that might have had to sit around and essentially listen to all these gunshots go off all night long. There was hundreds and hundreds of rounds, close to 900 rounds that were fired off throughout the night from about 4 o'clock-ish, just after 4, stretching through till, I would say, closer to midnight range. And then again, a few random shots in the morning. Essentially, my guess would be the birds that suffered all night, the ones that maybe they thought were dead but weren't dead, and then they came in the morning and they had to finish it up. It wasn't humane, in my opinion, by any way, shape, or form. The CFIA may claim that they do these things in a humane way. What happened the night before last was something out of like Schindler's List. Kind of reminded me of the scene in Schindler's List. You guys remember the one where they're clearing out the ghetto? Late at night, they had already gotten most of the Jewish people out of the ghetto, but late at night they came in, the Gestapo, and they hunted out the rest of them, and there was gunshots going off, and it was screaming and just loud. That's what it reminded me of. It was dark. They called these birds at night. What was the purpose of that? Why would you call these birds at night in the fashion that you did? You shot 300 and something ostriches in a handful of hours. How is that possibly humane? In the fashion that you did, it was like, how is it humane if you just put them all in a pen and started shooting them all? That means the ones that were there the longest without dying had to be in the trauma of all the other ostriches getting massacred around them. And then the ones, unfortunately, that didn't die right away from those initial blows had to suffer until the death shots came for them. That's not humane. They preach this story of how they sedate and then give lethal injections and stuff like that. Nah. They come in like bloody World War II and they shoot the shit out of everything until it's dead. That's what they do. I can't even believe it. I'm quite shocked, actually, that that's the way it went down. Like, we knew they were diabolical fucks. We knew this whole operation was messed up and demented. This is a Canadian first. This demented, disgusting shit show is an example of where we could go as a country if we're not freaking careful. Like, I'm being serious with everybody right now tonight here. This is diabolical shit. Shit that we read about. Shit that we watch movies about. And we just lived it. And I probably would be borderline questioning the realness of it if I wasn't here right at ground zero. We watched them line. People called us crazy because we said they were moving ostriches in bins, and then Super Safe was going to provide bins for ostriches. We watched them line 4 very, very large construction bins, the big giant, 40 yarders or whatever they are, and they crammed, and they lined them with tarps, and they crammed ostriches in them. dead ostriches, and we watched them pick them up with a loader, and dump them in and cram them in there. And then those very bins, we watched them leave this property, and we followed those bins, the first runs of them, and we watched them pull into the public works yard, the YRB yard up the hill. And it's sad because YRB, they take care of the highways, and that's where the sand and the salt is kept. And these guys right now, it's that time of year here where they need to access the salt and sand, and they need to be able to go in and out. And right now the CFIA and the RCMP have that facility and that land taken over to be the headquarters for this operation. And the Ministry of Transportation is responsible for that. It's not YRB's fault. They just lease the land all the same as anyone else from the Ministry of Transportation. That's public land owned by the Ministry of Transportation. So the Ministry of Transportation, the Minister of Transport is Mike Farnsworth, so let's hold him responsible. The Ministry of Transportation of British Columbia thinks it's acceptable to allow SuperSave to store. So what happened was they had 2 low bed trailers in there, and this is exactly what happened because I've seen it with my own eyes, and you guys know I'm straight up, I've never lied to you. They hauled the bins from here, and we followed that first bin load, and then we stayed there while other people followed the rest, and we watched the whole process. And they pushed from a bin truck the first load of ostriches in that bin onto the back of the trailer, and then it was half on kind of thing. They pushed it as far back as he could with that bin truck, and then he left and he went and got another bin, and he came back and he used that bin to push the other bin forward. But he was having a lot of trouble and he couldn't get the second one on, so he had to take that bin and put it onto the second low bed and then use his truck to push it back, and he couldn't quite do it. Then he came back and he got the other bin, the third bin, and he pushed the other one as far on as he could, and then he put that bin on the ground, and then he came back and he got the fourth bin and he brought that bin onto the ground out there. So we had 4 bins by SuperSave, giant big 40-yarders full of dead ostriches stored on Ministry of Transportation land, or the public works land, essentially. So that's kind of messed up. I'm wondering why the Ministry of Transportation, the NDP government, think that it's acceptable to use public land, especially this time of year when this is the YRB needs full access to that land that they lease, so that they can keep the highways safe in these areas. And shout out to YRB, they're good guys, and they're just trying to get their job done in the middle of all this stuff. I used to actually work doing the same job in the next district over, so I get it. I understand crunch time. You need to keep those highways safe this time of year. You need salt on them when they're icy. You need sand on them, and they're really getting their job restricted or confined right now because of this giant CFI operation that is based out of that facility, or that chunk of land, which they're calling kind of command center or whatever for this operation. So they brought the 4 bins there, 2 of them on there, and today they got the other 2 loaded on the back. So each low bed trailer had 2 40-yard bins stuffed full of ostriches with their lids closed. And we're not sure exactly. There's a rendering facility in Vancouver. They have since publicly announced on a public statement that they're not going there, West Coast Rendering. So they claim at West Coast Rendering that those birds are not going there. And then there is another facility, an incinerator in Burnaby. Forgive me, I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. And that's essentially where it's known to incinerate the carcasses of chickens after avian flu calls and stuff like that. So there's a good chance it's going there too. So there's those 2 options where they possibly could be going down on the coast. So they're either going to render the birds or they're going to incinerate the birds. So within literally a day from the time they killed them, they already had them in bins loaded on trailers, and they're already down at these facilities in the Lower Mainland in literally like under 48 hours. So how could the CFIA not have had this completely planned out? Like how could this have not been 100% ready to rock before the Supreme Court even announced this decision? They totally disregarded our justice system. either that or the justice system is corrupt. And I'd like to say maybe the Supreme Court isn't corrupt, but it's one or the other. Either the CFI completely disregarded them and figured they were going to win no matter what, and made sure that the second that stay was lifted, that they could get down to business and do whatever the hell they wanted and get the job done. It's either that or the farm never stood a chance with Supreme Court and it didn't matter, and they were going to find the way they did anyways. And I'd like to hope and pray that it isn't that. But it makes you wonder. It seems like this family here never caught a break the whole way through. Everything sided with the CFIA, the government, the whole way through. These people did everything the right way, right down to the bitter end. We didn't cause problems on the ground here. We kept peace. We made sure it was safe and made sure everybody could stay here till the bitter end. And nothing in return, other than the shit show that I'm looking at across the way from me right now. I'm sitting here and it's dark, and I'm at the intersection, my spot where I spent so many a night, particularly over the last 45 or however many days since the CFIA took over this property. And what went on here is a scar on Canadian history. It's a dark spot. And I'm almost shocked as a Canadian. Like, I knew our country was messed up. I knew we had problems. But to be part of this and experience this firsthand, it truly makes me worried about the future. And it makes me want to fight 10 times harder to try to defend what we are as a people, for the future of our children, for the future of this country. Because if this is the road we're going down, that's freaking crazy. That's not healthy. That's not normal. It's fucked up. It's messed up. It's disturbing. It's corrosive. It's destructive. It's cancerous. It's a black, disgusting, evil hole is what it is. Not on my watch. What I witnessed here will make me fight tooth and nail for the rest of my life. Be an advocate for the little guy, for the people, because I understand now fully, not that I didn't before, but now fully understand how truly messed up things are. And if we don't get our shit together, and if we don't start working collectively together as a whole to make some difference happen, to create some real change, we're hooped. You know, I was on that line today, and I don't know if anybody's seen any of those lives. I wasn't filming, but people were filming, and I was directing my comments directly at the RCMP, and I was getting through to this one lady, and she seemed decent. You know, she was, out of all of them, she was looking at me when I was speaking, and she was nodding her head, and she was listening. And she was hearing me. She wasn't just listening, she was hearing me. And, you know, I kept stressing the point, like, you know, like, we're not enemies. We're all on the same team here at the end of the day. And this freaking machine in the back, the CFIA, this corrupted arm of the government, is doing all this destructive killing, all this gross work back there, like doing evil. And they're using the RCMP as a shield. They're using this entity of this country that is supposed to serve and protect as a shield. They're being abused just like we're being abused by this broken, corrupted, weak system led by a weak, corrupted government. And the country, the citizens of this country keep voting that useless, corrupted, weak government in. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand, you know, why Heath MacDonald, why Mark Carney, even though they're liberals and they seem to stand against anything that, or anytime Canadians question any decision by any government entity, but they're silent in the final moments. No words, no thoughts, no anything from the agricultural minister of the Prime Minister, knowing that this is one of the biggest things that has happened in Canada in a while in this sense, and it's all over the news, and millions of people across the country and the world and America are invested in this mentally, spiritually. And as usual, weak leadership. Leadership that isn't there, isn't present in a time where the country truly needs leadership. Once again, our system letting us down. Not to say there's not any good MPs, because we had a good MP out here, didn't we? Mr. Scott Anderson, MP Scott Anderson, I see you, man. If you get to see this, Marcy is Scott Anderson's chief of staff. Big shout out to Marcy. And Marcy's not just a supporter now. Marcy's always stood on the right side of history. And, you know, there are a few good ones. And they remind us that it could be different. They remind us that if enough of us try really hard, maybe we can get our foot in the door and we can make positive change if enough of us collectively together want to make that happen. But it requires all of us making a commitment to the future. It requires us saying we're willing to think outside the box. We're willing to give people just like each other the opportunity to represent and lead us. We're willing to try something that is different than what we consider the norm, or what we have known to be the normal when it comes to political ideologies and representation. It's not working. It's never worked. This is another perfect example of it. The system just completely failing us, and saying they're protecting us. This is all in the name of public safety. You got guys on front of the camera in the front walking around in marshmallow costumes, and you got the death squad who are hanging out right next to the birds, killing them all off in civilian clothes the other night. Nobody's gearing up to kill those birds. They're walking around in civilian clothes. Some hazard, some biohazard. They didn't even have biohazard stickers on the sides of the bins, or hazardous material stickers on the sides of the bins as they hauled them out of here. Why is that, CFIA? Why is that, Super Save? Are you ashamed, Super Save, of what you're hauling in your bins? You should be. You should be really ashamed. I'm not sure why a company as big as Super Save would need to get involved with an operation that uses their bins to haul dead carcasses of shot ostriches away. That's a little disturbing if you ask me. And then what? They're going to take those bins and rinse them out and bring them to a construction site next? I think what the RCMP did to Chris Stacey was ridiculous. I believe they're trying to intimidate him. You know, Chris Stacey is a little forward. I love Chris, though. He's a little rough around the edges, but he says it how it is. He always has. He gets up in your face, and that's just what Chris does. And he called him out straight up. He's just been calling everything out straight up, much like myself. And, you know, he might be a little bit more abrupt about his approach, but at the end of the day, is he lying about anything he does? He's just giving his opinion. He's just stating what he thinks, what he sees. So I believe them threatening to arrest him if he continues to say certain things, I believe that's intimidation. I believe it's kind of borderline intimidation. I mean, granted, you know, great. They warned him. They didn't essentially or necessarily fine him or charge him or anything. But at the end of the day, we're at the point now where we're not even allowed to give opinions, speak our minds on the situations or the matters that are right in front of us, that we're seeing with our own eyes. Like, what is this, 1984? Like, are we really this is Canada, guys. Let's remember that. I mean, are we going to be one of those countries where one day we look back and go, holy crap, like, how did we get to this? How did we turn into this socialist shit show nightmare? Well, we're there. Thank you, liberals. You know, it's time we think outside the box. Because you know what? The government that's been in charge for the last 10 years has allowed it to get worse and worse and worse. Under that government, they've killed tens of millions of birds in the name of public safety and international trade. They've skyrocketed our deficits. They've spent more money than we've ever spent as a country in all the years combined before them. They have helped create a housing crisis, watched our economy get stretched right out, watched food prices skyrocket, watched fuel prices skyrocket, watched the healthcare system crumble, watched the education system crumble. What are they doing that's good? Mark Carney, you guys decided to give him a chance. Not you maybe in particularly here, but Canadians. They decided to give him a chance. Why? Elbows up. Elbows up. That's why. Like, what has elbows up got us? Where has elbows up got us? They're scared. That's why there's so many more RCMP here. They're all on edge. They're on edge because they're starting to understand like how messed up they must feel like really taken advantage of. You know, like they are spotlighted for being the ones that were the guards for this disgusting CFIA shit show. They're starting to take down the fences, apparently on Monday. We were given notice today that the fences will start to come down on Monday, and they should take a couple days to take them all down. They're dismantling at the pens over there with the cops. Is that what you're speaking of? All the work that's going on? There's no more ostriches to kill, guys, so they've already killed them all, unfortunately. So there's so guys, I'm trying to catch the comments, but they're coming in really fast. It did take a couple days to put them up, unfortunately. Yeah, if you add up all the fences around this whole place, it definitely did. We're not just talking about the blue mile. We're talking about the blue fencing that's around the whole place, or all of it combined. It's actually quite a bit. A convoy on November 22nd. I hope that people are planning rallies across the country. I believe this is a justifiable cause. I think standing up against an entity like the CFIA and bringing an awareness to the fact that this agency has complete autonomy over our agriculture and our food in general is disturbing. The power that they have and the pull that they have and the things that they can do with that power. It should be an eye-opener because food is everything. Food is everything at the end of the day. That's what keeps us alive. That's what keeps us nourished. Other than water, it comes only second to water. But at the end of the day, we can't live without it. So it's pretty scary when one entity controls it all. And I don't think a lot of people were truly aware of the power that the CFIA had until we really started looking into it, and we really started seeing the outreach. You bet they wanted the science. That's a good question, Debbie. I asked the site commander, the staff sergeant. I asked them specifically this evening. We had a meeting up the road. Dave was there, myself, Margaret was there, Trevor, a couple other people. Katie was there. And we were talking to the PLT and the staff sergeant and I guess his assistant, this other officer that was with him. And I specifically asked that question. And first off, the answers were, oh, well, it's a CFIA warrant, blah, 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 blah. And my question was, well, the CFIA bought the hay and they bought it to build a kill pen. And like the officer says, it's a CFIA warrant. Why the hell are we paying RCMP officers money, a wage, to spread hay on Margaret and Trevor's field along pathways that they've churned into complete mud? It's a freaking mud mess out there. And then they keep making more and more roads because they're just destroying their fields. I mean, they had that Super Save guy. He wouldn't even unchain when he was on the highway yesterday. Like, train your drivers better, Super Save. This bin truck guy, yeah, I get why he needs chains in the field. Good on him for having chains on in the field. It's muddier than shit. But he gets on the highway and he's driving back and forth to the command center where they're storing the carcass bins before they moved them today. And he's ripping up and down the highway with his chains on. And there's no ice. There's no snow. It's just a regular fall day. And The guy's just ripping back and forth, just chewing up the highway because he's too lazy to get his ass out of his truck and take his chains off and put them back on when he gets back to the mud, like a good truck driver would. And then we watch the guy back in, knock over a tree on Langell Road, almost hit a car. Like, you're sending real winners out here, CFIA. And shame on you, Super Safe, for even being part of this. Like, this is money. A corporation as big as Super Safe, you need this money that bad? You got this forever tied to your name? That was worth the paycheck you got out of this? You used your bins to haul carcasses of ostriches that were murdered the night before away from here. And you did it right in front of us. At least you weren't trying to hide it at that point. I guess what's the point of hiding it, right? And then we watched the CFIA workers line those bins with tarps. And then we watched the Super Safe truck pick those bins back up, take them into the kill pen zone, and unload them and move them around. And we could see all this from our vantage point quite easily. You couldn't really not. Like, how do you not see a big giant bin truck? And then we watched that bin truck drive in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out of this kill pen, bringing in more bins. And then hauling them out when they were full of carcasses. All those people asking when I'm going home. I'm going home to my beautiful wife and kids tomorrow. Going to be with my family. Not sure when I'll come back this time. I'll be here if the farm needs me as we kind of move forward. But right now, it's time to go spend some time with my family. Katie's actually home with her family tonight too, which is a really good thing. With her husband and son came and picked her up, and that was awesome. And it's time for everybody, to spend some time processing this healing. My wife is an amazing, beautiful woman. She put up with a lot of trolls, a lot of false accusations, a lot of things that were aimed to try to hurt me, to try to silence me, to bring me down, hurt my wife, hurt my family. But she's a strong, beautiful woman. She's my rock, and she is why I have such a powerful voice, because I know I have such a foundation at home. Through it all, if she's watching, I love you, darling. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I'm a lucky guy in that sense. I love my wife very much. Sometimes we get caught in weird pictures online. The other day, it was a very emotional day. I was comforting Katie. I was comforting Karen. I was comforting everybody. I was giving Katie a hug. And a picture gets taken, and it gets taken out of context. Just like the whole way through, All we're trying to do is be good people, and you got people out there that are scanning through footage, and they got nothing better to do than to creep out and really try to hurt people that are trying to spread some love, trying to be good beacons of hope in this world, try to set good examples in this world. But it's okay. We understand that when you stand on the right side of history, when you choose to put yourself out there, that's going to happen. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people that try to hurt you. But what I will say is all they do is strengthen me. My foundation won't be broken. Our foundation here at the farm won't be broken. We will continue on to fight the future. We will keep doing exactly what we promised we would do this whole way through. We will set an example for the future. We will help create real change. We will continue to put political pressure, unite this country. We will continue to take away the stigmata of left and right and bring people to the table together that truly want to create a better tomorrow. And we will start attacking these broken, messed up, demented policies that are holding the citizens of this country back. There's no reason why we can't take steps back in the right direction, or at least aim to. We don't have to have a revolution that is essentially, a war, a physical war. If enough people say enough is enough, guess what? Things change. We just need people to give a shit. We just need people to have a voice, to stand up for the little guy, to spend a year in Edgewood if that's what it takes, to help fight for a cause. And yes, the CFIA killed these ostriches at the end of the day, but we exposed the nature of this beast. We showed the world the corruption that happens right here in Canada, the land of the free, a country that's supposed to be the freest place on earth to live. We showed the world the sick, demented policies that exist even here in Canada and the direction this once great country is going. We may have been here exposing it, but at least we're not the keyboard warriors out there telling people that they didn't do enough. Could you imagine being that couch potato at home, telling people, oh, you didn't do it right, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that? Well, you know what your ass did? It sat on the couch and did nothing. You did nothing. So I don't think you're in any position to critique people that were here. And I'm sure your butt could have somehow breached the 100 and something officers and everything that were here, and you could have saved the day. Like, let's be realistic. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm a realist and you're not, but the reality is all we were able to do was expose the reality of what's happening here. What do you think 50 people running and charging the line and getting arrested was going to save the day? If that's what you think, guess what? You're brain dead. That's not how things work. That's not how you wake up the world. That's not how you expose the nature of the beast. You want to expose the nature of the beast, you have to show the nature of the beast. In order to show the nature of the beast, you have to be here at ground zero, boots on the ground. And you have to be able to stay here and mentally be able to hold it out and hold it together and not break composure so that you get arrested and hauled away. Look at Jim. Jim's a good soul. They hauled his ass away for simply feeding the ostriches, pushing grain across the line. That's what he got arrested for. So yeah, maybe a handful of people could have ran through and charged those fences and tried to run to the pens. But guess what? Within a few minutes, they would have all got arrested. They would have all got the shit kicked out of them. Everybody would have got kicked out of here. And then nobody would have been able to show anybody shit. And that's the true reality of it. We did everything we could to fight these guys, to expose these guys. But guess what? This is a legal battle that shows how corrupted the system actually is. So in thought, yay, let's have this fairy tale mindset of what we could have done. But the reality is we did everything we could. And anybody critiquing that, well, where were you? Next time, lead by example instead of talking. You know what I'm saying, guys? And I know most of you out there, you supported everything this family did. You supported Katie and Karen the whole way through. I think they did a pretty damn good job. I think Katie did a pretty damn good job getting this out there, getting the support of as many people around the world as she possibly could. She's just one little woman. Look what she was able to accomplish with the help of a few good people that were willing to stand next to her and by her through this process. I think that was pretty darn good, if you ask me. This fight isn't over. This fight has just begun, and that's what people don't realize. I mean, what's up with people and having the mindset of, oh my God, it's over. It's not over. It's just begun. This is setting the groundwork for the future. For the little guy to actually say enough is enough. I have an opportunity to stand the ground because my neighbors and my community and the people around me are willing to take on that fight with me. And we're going to continue to go forward. We're going to do everything we can, day in, day out, to fight. I'm going to use all my political connections and my ability to keep fighting in every way we can, to spread awareness, to spread exposure. We will continue to talk to all the right sources, all the right resources. We will spread the word. We will work with you guys out there to be the change we seek in this world. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Do you think the CFIA is going to stop? Do you think this is the last time they're going to do something diabolical like this? No. They got a lot of this diabolical shit already slated, and they're going to continue to keep going. But what they didn't anticipate is a bunch of Canadians who are going to say enough is enough. A bunch of farmers were going to start getting engaged and saying enough is enough. And just like they did in other countries around the world, we're going to take back the power. The people, the farmers, the workers, the everyday voices are going to take back the power in this country. Step by step, moment by moment, day by day, slow and painful, but we're going to do it. So in a sense, thank you, CFIA. Thank you, corrupted system, for inspiring us to be the change that we need in this world. I seen Jim from a distance today. I was down at the end of the road having a meeting with the PLT and that, and Jim was way up where he was allowed to be on the highway, and he was yelling at the cops. So I waved at him and I said, "Hey, brother." And I was able to see Jim yesterday too, up by the dump, or the pit. Excuse me, guys. My throat's just a little rough. All that yelling I did over the last couple days at the RCMP. Not really the RCMP, the CFIA, but I did give the RCMP a little bit of a talking to today too. But a lot more respectful than the way I talked to the CFIA. And the voice is a little bit gone. Fisherman's friends. They don't taste the best, but they work. Raleigh and Calgary, nice. Don't worry about them, Jillian. They're just trolls. Everybody knows everything's great between me and my wife. She just gets frustrated from time to time, all the trolls and some of the shit that people say. And I don't blame her. She's my wife. She has every right to get frustrated when people say stupid shit and try to cause problems. She's an awesome woman, though, and my wife is beautiful, and she's amazing, and she works hard, and she's a good mother. And we've been together for 18 years, actually, since I was a kid, since we were kids. And we will be together for the rest of our lives, actually, just like it's meant to be. And we have a beautiful family together, and I'm lucky to have her. I'm glad Katie got family time too, Rachel. She really needed it. Yeah, I'll be coming back to the farm, John. I don't think there's a need for me to be here as much as I have been, but we're going to work together moving forward. This is just the beginning of something really good as far as building change. It's still ground zero for that change. So while we all have lives, I mean, I do have to find a new job now, because as everybody knows, I did lose my position through all this on the highways. But, through all this, I've also got to meet a lot of new people, and had a lot of people reach out, and there is a lot of different new opportunities for me to try to engage in. So I'm gonna get back home, and I'm gonna get back into something like that, and we're gonna work together on the side, and we're gonna keep building a better tomorrow, and we're gonna keep fighting this battle. We're gonna expose the CFIA. We're gonna look for every single little clue we can when they're gone. And we're going to continue to stand united and strong with faith, with hope, with love in our hearts. And we're going to show this corrupted system that we can't be broken. That you can't break Canadian people. Because we are built of something a little different. And we'll set an example. We'll show the world that the people can fight back. We might not be creating change the way we thought we wanted to, or the way we wanted to, or the way we dreamed we could, but we are still creating that change. And the world is definitely watching. The world is uncomfortable about what they just seen. And guess what? That's where change happens. It happens in those lines of uncomfort, in those areas that make our skin crawl a little bit. That's where real change happens. In those moments where we realize, no, that's not who we are. That's not what we do. No, a lot more than just Garlic Girl's land was damaged. Remember, guys, all the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of one single little candle. As long as that love burns inside of us, as long as that light burns inside of us, they'll never extinguish it. We'll always fight. We'll always aim to create a better example for tomorrow. And that's truly what we need to do. We need to show our children in the future that we're not going to continue to go down these dark paths. And when the system creates these dark, disturbed methods, we will stand united against them. Regardless of the outcomes, we will still let the system know that it's broken, that it's corrupted, that it's disturbed, that it's demented. Because there's absolutely nothing normal about what happened here on November 6th in the evening in Edgewood, British Columbia at the Universal Ostrich Farm. There was absolutely nothing normal, nothing humane about that evening's events. I will never forget what went down that night. Unfortunately, it's now etched in this mind forever. Those sounds, the gunshots going off all night. That's not normal. That's not humane. That's not what we are. Do I want a number for work? Hey, if you're in the North Okanagan area, I mean, depending what it is, yeah, DM me. I'll never say no to an opportunity. That person hasn't been a long-time supporter of me. I don't even know who they are. They're definitely not on my friends list. They have been a troll of me for the last 42 days. Maybe the last 10 months. I've been around here for a long time, so maybe you've been trolling me for the last 10 months. I don't know. Maybe you were a Freedom Convoy troll back in the day. They took the ostriches to the Lower Mainland. They're either going to be at the landfill, the rendering facility, or the incinerator in Burnaby. I forget what that place is called. Thanks, Molly. Sorry, guys. I had to chew that Fisherman's Friend so that I could make my throat feel a little better from all the yelling. Yeah, I'm aware Daisy got approached by officers. That was quite a while ago now. Down here, we kind of hear about things literally as they're happening. Plus, it was on film. Yeah, but I don't think they're actually going to West Coast waste reduction, Shelley. I mean, they possibly could be, but West Coast waste reduction did put a public statement out saying that they are not participating in this call or rendering birds from this call. So I don't know if that's accurate or not. Hey, thanks, Rich. Nobody has sent my wife any incriminating pictures. The only things that have been sent to my wife is, you guys remember yesterday when we were by the highway, when everything was going down and Katie and Karen were really upset. I was kind of like holding on to Katie. She was leaning into me. That's the picture I think that people are talking about. So it's basically like me hugging her. And it was like, there was like hundreds of people around. It was pretty obvious. It wasn't really anything weird. They sent that picture to my wife, I think, is what they're speaking of. But other than that, nothing's been really sent to my wife. Except a lot of trolling comments. A lot of really ignorant comments have been sent to my poor wife. And my wife's an amazing, beautiful person. You're not going to break her either. She's the rock that stands by me. She's a rock just like I am. You ain't going to hurt us. Troll, some weak-ass trolls ain't going to hurt us. Haters gonna hate, boys and girls. Haters are gonna hate. That's how you know you're doing good in this world. You start to develop haters. No, I'm not getting a divorce. I made a joke on a live. Well, not really a joke. My wife made a joke with me, and then I kind of made the joke out loud. I'm not getting a divorce. My wife's amazing. We're not getting divorced. She might even be watching right now. Hey, I think my beautiful wife is watching right now. If you're there, say hi, beautiful. Oh, honey, be nice. I already told everybody that that's what the picture was that I was hugging, and that it bothered you. But I love you very much, and I can't wait to be home with you tomorrow. And I'm glad some of our supporters are reaching out to you and showing you support. Some of the people that love and know that what we're doing is good. And I appreciate all your patience through this, and how you've been taking care of our amazing little kiddos, and how you've been holding down the fort, even though I've only been there half the time. I see you. I see you, beautiful. Thank you for loving me. Can I go see what's going on the road? I'm not hearing anything from anybody. Like, I get constant communication from everybody, and I'm not hearing about anything up there right now. The trolls need to find cactuses to ride on. I love it. Oh, you'll still see my lives. I'll still do lives, even if I'm at home. I'll still sneak in lives and stuff like that. We got a lot of work ahead of us, but my focus is back at home now, moving forward. I have to devote the majority of my time and energy back to my family and back to my own little tribe, to my little rock and my foundation. I have to be what I preach, right? So I have to recognize that I have to start focusing a lot more energy back at home. And I appreciate that my wife is such a rock that she is, put up with me putting so much energy into this cause. But I know she's a good woman. I know she supports good things. And I know even though it's hard and frustrating, she's one of our biggest supporters. Because that's who she is. She's got the biggest heart that I know. So, I know you should just make me a big giant honey to-do list. Everything that you want me to get done. And I'll get on it. And I'll be home sometime tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to have to let everybody go. I gotta call Michelle back because she did try to call me at the start of this live, and I know she's tuning into it right now, but I better call her. Priorities. It's time to call the wife. Much love, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for all the positive support, and all you trolls, like our friend there said, go find a cactus to sit on. Keep being you guys. My email, as always, will be in the heading. Some people keep asking me to put it up. Sometimes I forget. Thank you for being you. Thank you for standing on the right side of history. Thank you for standing with Karen and Katie and their family to the bitter end, fighting this cause. Thank you for continuing to stand with them. Thank you for the next chapter that we're going to create through this. It doesn't stop here. It just starts here. It gets bigger and better. Canadians unite. This is the chapter of the book where the people say enough is enough. We watched, we seen, no more. Keep being you. You are the seeds of change, and now the world is watching, and it will continue to watch moving forward. Much love, and we'll talk again very soon.